All right, so they've done it. They've given us another test document to go ahead and talk about and go over. Now, I want to be clear for this test document. There's quite a few changes to classes and clans. I'm not going over those today. All right, there is a lot of them, a lot of different stuff. If it's something you want to see me talk about, then go ahead and let me know down in the comment section. And hey, I'd want nothing more than to go over that for you. But what I really want to talk about are 4 really big changes that they're making to kind of just the gameplay in general and different aspects of it. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, whoa, Tito, slow your roll, all right? You know I gotta ask you to hit the sub button, okay? It's just mandatory, it's just business, nothing personal. But we're so close. We're so close to 1,000. And you guys have just been so good getting us all the way to where we are now. I genuinely can't say thank you enough. But I know y'all want to see that great little 1,000 subscriber special video, so go ahead, go scroll down. Get the little, you know what I mean? Don't think about it too much. Don't think about it. It's not that complicated. Anyway, we'll go on. Now, going ahead and actually hopping into the book here, we got the table of contents, which if you want to kind of read through the different clans and classes that got changed, here's your chance, all for you. We can sit here and scroll through for a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to go over a lot of these changes, especially on the clan side of things, are mostly just balance changes. There are a few pretty unique changes that, like I said, if y'all want to see me talk about a little more in depth, let me know down in the comments. I might make another video kind of going into those. But the classes in general just got balanced a little bit. I know clans got a few abilities changed and modified to make them a little more in line with what we typically got. But what we're really focusing on today, the main 4 things I was referring to, are going to be the multi-class redesign, the optional skill action rules, the clone kind of issue and rework, and then the bloodline rework. So a lot of reworks of some main mechanics going on here. So our first stop, like I said, is going to be our class redesign, or rather the multi-class redesign. Now, for those of you that don't know how multi-classing typically worked previously, you would do how you would in D&D, where let's say you kind of get, to level 9 and you've already put 8 levels into Medical Nin, but you're like, you know what? It'd be kind of cool to have some Genjutsu prowess inside here. So then you could go ahead and start putting levels into Genjutsu. And going that route, you could kind of start to balance out where maybe you have 5 levels in one and 4 levels in another, or something like that. That's how it used to work. Now, what they're trying to change it to is this class archetype system, where instead of doing levels in each one, you actually take these right here, which are, basically feats is what they are, and it's going to give you small, more compact, controlled versions of those class. So you're still able to have one class and also bring in aspects of another one, but it's not nearly as busted. And again, if you want to read it, you can go through. Basically, he talks about how it removes a lot of limitations from some of the classes that they previously had, because a lot of the scaling and stuff you had to do for classes revolved around your level in that specific class. Well, once you remove multi-classing in that way, then you can remove that and you can scale the classes individually, and one, maybe make them more powerful or less powerful depending on their situation and where they're at. So overall, is it a little sad? Sure. But honestly, super healthy for the game. And it even specifies in here, if you want to do the original multi-classing rules, feel free. It's always up to table and DM discretion, but he very clearly states he's not going to be balancing for that. So if you try to keep normal multi-classing in your campaigns, it's not going to take much of just a single min-maxy person to just really create a busted character through that. Now, up next here is a new optional rule called skill actions. And honestly, I thought these were pretty neat. I can see some tables struggling with them, and I'll talk about why in a second. But basically what we have here is for every general skill thing, right? So your acrobatics, animal handling, athletics, chakra control. You're going to have different things that your character can directly do with these things. So something like tame an animal, calm animal, squeeze through, maintain balance, right? These are now actions your character is going to be able to take depending on if they are either not proficient in the thing or they are proficient, or I don't even know if I'm going to find an example. Here we go. Even if they're in expertise, then they have a high level of this thing that they can use. So pretty cool. Gives you some more options. The one thing I see this being an issue for is people that already struggle with decision making. So in D&D, it's a free world, right? You can do just about anything. So when you start to give more options to some people, it kind of just stun locks them and they don't really know what to do. So I think for some tables this is cool. Gives you some neat options that you don't have to sit there and create and just invent random checks to do things, but you have very direct, written, balanced actions that you can choose to do. So, gonna be up to your table if you want to use these. Like it specifies in the beginning, it's an optional rule, but honestly, I think for most tables and most groups, this is gonna be a neat thing to add into your games. So I know not all of us sit there and stare at the book as much as some others do. No comment. With clones, if you've played Naruto 5e for even a little bit and you've tried to go through clone stuff, there's a couple things that you'll notice very quickly. One, it's pretty messy. There's a lot of different nuances and rules and aspects for every single different type of clone that you have to follow and understand, so it gets a little complicated. Two, once you do understand how clones work, they're busted. Like, I mean broken garbage, okay? Once you figure it out, a lot of the people that just sit there and min-max and really do some absolutely dumb stuff to some jutsus, clones are typically one of the main ways that they really get their numbers up way higher than they should, and usually for cheaper than they should as well. So, what this rework / redesign is really working and intending to do is, one, making them way easier to understand. They're gonna have a lot more straightforward keywords that like very directly influence how it works and very clearly relate to you, the player. Hey, this is what this clone does, this is what it can do. And two, making them less powerful, because he clarifies he doesn't want to remove clones from the game, because removing clones from a Naruto D&D game is like a cardinal sin. You just can't do it. So instead, he's just trying to find ways to balance them and just make them easier to understand overall. So again, per usual, if you want to kind of pause and read through, you can. As you can see, he changes and gets rid of a few of the kind of specific clone techniques. But overall, I mean, this is just going to be a great change for the game, especially for you gosh darn min-maxers out there, on God. Now for our last one here, we have the Bloodline Latent redesign, rework, all that good stuff. For those that don't know, the Bloodline traits were basically a way for you to multi-clan. So if you wanted to be an Uchiha Uzumaki mix, this was your way to do it. This was pretty much the style. Now, originally, you would basically take a feat and it would kind of give you a dumbed down version of that clan that you could combine with your current clan abilities. This aims to do a couple things. One, fix the broken nature of this, okay? There were some clan combinations that were just stupid. It was just absurd. It wasn't fair. It was just ridiculous, okay? It just wasn't right. And two, to fix a very weird situation that would happen sometimes where some combinations were just better than the other flipped. So, for example, and I don't remember the exact combinations, but we'll use Uchiha Uzumaki as an example. If you would be a main Uchiha, but a kind of sub-clan Uzumaki, that would just be objectively stronger than a main Uzumaki and a sub-clan Uchiha. Why this would happen was mainly because some features were just stronger than others, right? Like, taking a latent Uchiha and getting access to the Sharingan is really, really powerful. Whereas taking like a latent Fuma and getting access to like better Shuriken is not quite equivalent to gaining access to a Sharingan, right? Like it just doesn't add up. So that's one thing they're really aiming to fix here, is kind of one, just that overall balance, and two, that ability to kind of just make people understand and make people not abuse the power of like, oh, well, I just have a Sharingan now, smile, look what I can do, right? And so that's the main goal of it. And again, if you want to read through, you can. Here's a lot of the different latent things. The main thing that they added as well, if you see, is this bloodline point cost. Basically, whenever you do take this bloodline thing, you get a certain amount of points that you can allocate towards this sub-clan, giving yourself a few abilities, right? So like if you go down to Uzumaki or you go down to Uchiha, getting those really high level and high power clan features is gonna cost you most, if not all, of your points. So that was the main goal in this rework. And so there you have it. That's going to be all of your big major changes and reworks for the test document coming in. Now, I want to remind everyone, again, just because it's in the test document doesn't mean it's going to be in the game. This is a test document. It's made so people can play test the ideas and the concepts and see if they work and see how effective they are. So if something worries you and you really feel like something shouldn't be changed or maybe is being changed too much, don't worry, this isn't 100% in there. It's just something they're looking into, and hey, I always find it interesting, so I figure you guys might as well. But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. And hit the sub button. We're so close. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.